What's up, everybody? Destin here. Metal Gear Solid 5, Mitch, just announced what?
What is the question, Destin?
This is, I can't believe it.
So going
it's
into
Phantom Pain, it's Ground Zeroes, what's going on?
It's everything. So we going into this event today at the Game Developers Conference here in San Francisco, we knew that we were going to go see something about the core of Ground Zeroes. We're going to go learn about the Fox engine, photorealism, how it all came together. We also suspected that the Phantom Pain, which was this apparently new IP developed by this studio called Moby Dick Studios, was maybe somehow related, because there was a lot of visual cues, there was a lot of Kojima-esque weirdness to it. So we went to this panel. It was very clearly all coming together. Kojima showed a trailer, and the trailer was madness. It was just nothing but Phantom Pain stuff that we've seen, Ground Zero stuff that we've seen, and then new stuff that kind of puts those together in a way that we don't really understand, and that's what Metal Gear Solid 5 is. The Phantom Pain plus Ground Zeroes is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Okay, so I'm confused. We see a guy in the trailer. He has no arm. Correct. His eyes hanging out. It's gone.
Yep.
And there's some dude all bandaged up. Well, let's start with Big Boss. How do we see him riding around on a motorcycle and then one arm?
So we don't actually know the chronology of this, right? We know that they explained that the Phantom Pain is the prologue, the tutorial. We don't know how long that is. We don't know when it's set. For all we know, like, that Snake wakes up. He's got
we know
one
it's
arm.
set 9 years later.
He's been in a coma for 9 years, but we don't know whether you play the game and get into a coma, or you. Like, maybe Metal Gear Solid 5 is you playing through the events of you getting to that coma. Maybe you wake up and you play the next however long, right? Like, it's this weird thing where they're not clear about anything. We don't know how they're distributing this. Whether or not this is one game, two games, like a digital prologue and then a retail release, like, we have no idea, because they are super unhelpful about all of it, Destin.
Okay, well, let's talk about what we do know.
Okay.
Who is the guy in the bandages? I have a hypothesis. I think it's Gray Fox. What about you?
Which dude in the bandages, specifically?
But right when you wake up, you come out of the coma, you got one arm, you're crawling around on the floor, he's helping you out.
I mean, that could be, like, in the original Metal Gear, right? Frank Yeager, who eventually became Gray Fox in Metal Gear Solid, like, that was Snake's best friend. They were cooperatives, they worked in the field together. That's entirely possible.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
You think that's
Destin says it's confirmed. I believe in him.
Okay, so it's not confirmed. I didn't say that.
Gray
Nothing's
Fox
confirmed.
Destin Legere.
But looking at the concept art of Gray Fox and looking at the guy in the bandages, and we know Gray Fox his face was injured, stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, he was definitely a victim of something. Maybe a fire.
Well, he was tortured. He was tortured.
Yeah, that dude had a rough
Metal
life.
Gear.
He also flat out died. Like, they killed him in a horrible way, and then he came back.
Okay, so let's talk about the enemies that we saw.
Yep.
Is that a young Psycho Mantis?
No, that's very clearly a little girl. I actually think that might be Paz from Peace Walker.
Okay.
It's a very similar design, but it's really unclear, because her face is all covered, pink hair. Who knows what's going on with that? But I don't think in any way that's Psycho Mantis. She floats through the ceiling instead of creates hallucinations for you.
Well, okay, talking about creating hallucinations.
Idea, right? Could be a very similar idea.
We saw a giant fire whale eating something.
Yes, yes. I'm so excited for whatever that is.
So if you think that's Paz, do you think that it could be her, like, making him relive his past?
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of weird supernatural stuff going on in this, right? Like, we see that dude walk through the hallway, and he's, like, super freaky looking. This big imposing dude who's on fire.
Well, you know who he reminds me of? The Fury, who should be dead, but if you watch his death animation in Metal Gear Solid 3, you don't ever really see him die. He kind of bursts into flames and looks very similar to how he does in this particular trailer.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of suspicion that it was Colonel Volgin from Metal Gear Solid 3. Back when we first saw the imagery of this guy, like, walk through the hallway. But then, you know, if a sprinkler kicks on, he vanishes, ha ha ha, very funny.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's necessarily an existing villain being brought back. Kojima doesn't really do that a lot. He does a lot of homages to himself.
Well, like Psycho Mantis looks very familiar. This could also be like Big Boss, because somebody's pointed out that it looks like there's rose petals around him, but I don't think so. It looks like a male fire figure.
Sure.
Yeah, with horns.
Yeah, this whole thing is super weird. It's the most Kojima-esque Kojima thing that he's ever done. He's very good about announcing stuff in strange ways, and this is definitely the most bizarre Metal Gear announcement thing he's ever done.
So right away we hear them say the woman, and they question it. What do you think that's about?
I have no idea. Maybe the nurse, like
that sounds like it's Paz, because they did that in the Ground Zeroes trailer, right? They brought up the woman, the girl.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And there was also, I think there was that kid in the cage that I'm pretty sure
plugs in headset into his chest.
There's all sorts of, like, weird connections to stuff they've done before. So I'm not really sure about the woman.
Okay.
Well, a lot of women.
So that's what we know or don't know about Metal Gear Solid 5 right now. Mitch, thanks for joining us to talk about it. You got to get back to an appointment.
I do.
All right. Well, thanks. And for more on Metal Gear Solid 5, be sure to keep it locked right here on IGN.